The Hound of the Baskervilles is one of Arthur Conan Doyle's most famous novels, featuring the iconic detective Sherlock Holmes and his faithful companion Dr. John Watson. Originally serialized in the Strand magazine between 1901 and 1902, the novel stands as one of the best examples of detective fiction in English literature. Set on the eerie and fog-covered moors of Devon, The Hound of the Baskervilles mixes elements of the supernatural with a classic whodunit mystery. The plot centers around the Baskerville family, which is said to be haunted by a demonic hound that has been killing members of the family for generations. Although Sherlock Holmes is at the center of the investigation, much of the narrative unfolds from Watson's perspective. Watson takes the lead in much of the detective work on the ground, while Holmes works behind the scenes to uncover the truth. This structure adds suspense and depth to the story, allowing the reader to experience the mystery unfolding through the more relatable and human eyes of Dr. Watson. Themes of fear, superstition, rationality, and justice intertwine to create a compelling narrative that explores the tension between reason and the supernatural. The Curse of the Baskervilles. The novel opens with Dr. Watson and Sherlock Holmes in their Baker Street residence, where they receive a visitor, Dr. James Mortimer. Mortimer brings to their attention the legend of the Baskerville family curse, which dates back to the 17th century. The curse began with Sir Hugo Baskerville, an immoral and violent man who is said to have kidnapped a local woman. According to legend, Sir Hugo was killed by a massive supernatural hound while pursuing the woman across the moors. Since then, many members of the Baskerville family have met tragic and mysterious ends, allegedly at the paws of this same ghostly hound. Dr. Mortimer is particularly concerned because Sir Charles Baskerville, the latest head of the family, has recently died under mysterious circumstances. His body was found near Baskerville Hall, apparently the victim of a heart attack. However, Mortimer reveals that he saw large canine tracks near the body, leading him to believe that the hound is real and that the curse is responsible for Sir Charles's death. The arrival of Sir Henry Baskerville. Sir Charles's heir, Sir Henry Baskerville, is due to arrive from Canada to claim his inheritance and take up residence at Baskerville Hall. Mortimer is worried that Sir Henry may be in danger from the same supernatural forces that plagued his ancestors. Holmes is intrigued by the case, but is initially unable to join Watson and Sir Henry in Devon. Holmes sends Watson ahead to accompany Sir Henry to Baskerville Hall and investigate the situation on the moors. Watson's investigation on the moors. As Watson and Sir Henry arrive at Baskerville Hall, they are greeted by the bleak and isolated landscape of the Devonshire moors. Baskerville Hall itself is a gloomy, ancient mansion shrouded in mystery and fear. The locals believe in the legend of the hound and warn Watson and Sir Henry to be careful, heightening the atmosphere of dread. Watson begins his investigation, trying to discern whether the danger is supernatural or human in origin. During his stay at Baskerville Hall, Watson meets a number of key characters who are either potential allies or suspects. These include the Barrymores, the Baskerville family's loyal servants, who seem to be hiding secrets of their own, Mr. Stapleton, a naturalist and neighbor who lives on the moor with his sister Beryl, and Laura Leon, a woman from the nearby village who had connections to Sir Charles before his death. Watson is struck by the eerie atmosphere of the moors, which seem to hide secrets in their mists and treacherous terrain. At night, he hears strange sounds, including the distant howling of what he believes could be the legendary hound. The tension between reason and superstition becomes central to Watson's investigation, as he tries to find logical explanations for these mysterious occurrences while grappling with the fear that something supernatural may be at play. The mystery deepens. As Watson digs deeper into the mystery, he uncovers several key clues. The Barrymores are acting suspiciously, and Watson discovers that they are secretly communicating with someone on the moors. This turns out to be Mrs. Barrymore's brother, Selden, an escaped convict who is hiding out in the rugged landscape. Watson's discovery of Selden's presence adds a new layer of complexity to the case, but it also shifts some of the suspicion away from the Barrymores. Meanwhile, Watson grows suspicious of Mr. Stapleton and his sister Beryl, who seem to have a strange and ambiguous relationship with Sir Henry. Stapleton is outwardly friendly and helpful, but Watson senses that he may be hiding something. Beryl, on the other hand, seems frightened and tries to warn Watson and Sir Henry about the danger they are in, though she is hesitant to reveal too much. Watson's letters to Holmes describe the increasing tension on the moors and the peculiar behavior of the people around Baskerville Hall. However, despite his best efforts, Watson is unable to unravel the mystery entirely on his own. Holmes returns to the scene. In a dramatic turn, Sherlock Holmes reveals that he has been secretly conducting his own investigation on the moors all along. He had sent Watson ahead to keep Sir Henry safe and gather information, while he stayed hidden, observing the events from a distance. Holmes's return marks a turning point in the story as he begins to piece together the clues that Watson had collected. Holmes quickly identifies the key players in the mystery and reveals the true nature of the plot. He discovers that Mr. Stapleton is actually a distant relative of the Baskerville family and has been plotting to kill Sir Henry in order to claim the Baskerville fortune for himself. Stapleton had been using the legend of the Hound to terrorize Sir Henry and create the illusion of a supernatural threat. The Hound, however, is very real, though not supernatural. It is a large, vicious dog that Stapleton had trained to attack on command. The climax, the Hound attacks. Holmes, Watson, and Sir Henry set a trap for Stapleton, using Sir Henry as bait. Sir Henry is invited to dinner at Stapleton's house, and as he walks home across the moor that night, Stapleton releases the Hound to attack him. In a suspenseful and terrifying scene, the Hound, covered in phosphorus to make it glow in the dark, chases Sir Henry across the moor. Just as the Hound is about to attack, Holmes and Watson intervene, shooting and killing the beast. Sir Henry is saved, but the ordeal leaves him shaken and traumatized. The sight of the glowing, monstrous Hound nearly drives him mad, and he collapses from fear and exhaustion. The resolution. After the Hound is killed, Holmes and Watson confront Stapleton, who attempts to flee across the treacherous Grimpen Mire. The mire is a dangerous bog that swallows anyone who steps into it, and Stapleton, in his desperation, becomes trapped and sinks to his death, leaving his plot unfulfilled and the Baskerville curse broken. In the aftermath, Holmes explains how he solved the case. He had deduced early on that the supernatural elements of the story were merely a cover for a more human crime. Stapleton's use of the Hound to carry out his murders was clever but ultimately flawed. Holmes's mastery of logic and deduction allowed him to see through the layers of fear and superstition to uncover the truth, themes, and motifs. Rationality versus superstition. One of the central themes of The Hound of the Baskervilles is the conflict between rationality and superstition. The legend of the Baskerville Hound is deeply rooted in fear and the supernatural, but Holmes's role in the story is to show that even the most terrifying myths can have a rational explanation. Throughout the novel, Watson struggles with his own doubts, as the eerie setting and strange occurrences on the moors make it difficult for him to remain completely rational. Holmes, however, serves as the embodiment of reason, and his belief in logic ultimately triumphs over the fear of the unknown. The moors themselves serve as a symbol of this conflict. They are vast, mysterious, and filled with dangers, both real and imagined. The treacherous landscape mirrors the uncertainty that surrounds the legend of the Hound, blurring the line between reality and superstition. It is only through Holmes's methodical approach that the truth is finally revealed, dispelling the fear that has gripped Baskerville Hall for generations. Class and inheritance. The novel also explores issues of class and inheritance, particularly through the character of Stapleton, whose motivation for murder is greed and a desire to reclaim what he believes is his rightful inheritance. The Baskerville family, with its long lineage and immense fortune, represents the old British aristocracy. Stapleton's attempts to infiltrate this world and claim its wealth for himself reflect broader themes of class conflict and the lengths to which people will go to secure their place in society. The idea of inheritance is also tied to the concept of the Baskerville curse. The notion that the sins of the past, embodied in the figure of Sir Hugo Baskerville, can be passed down through generations is a powerful metaphor for the way wealth, power, and guilt are inherited within families. Conclusion: The Hound of the Baskervilles remains one of Arthur Conan Doyle's most enduring and popular works, combining the appeal of a classic detective story with the eerie atmosphere of Gothic fiction. At its core, the novel is a meditation on the power of fear and the importance of reason in overcoming superstition. Through the character of Sherlock Holmes, Doyle champions logic and intellect as the ultimate tools for solving even the most terrifying mysteries. The novel's setting on the desolate moors, combined with the legend of the demonic Hound, creates an atmosphere of suspense and dread that continues to captivate readers. Holmes's methodical approach to the case, contrasted with Watson's more emotional and human perspective, adds depth to the narrative and underscores the theme of rationality versus fear. In the end, The Hound of the Baskervilles is not just a story about a crime. It is a story about the triumph of reason over superstition, the unraveling of complex human motivations, and the enduring power of justice. Created for Squeeze That Book channel, please subscribe to follow new videos, and leave a comment with your thoughts about the book.